Welcome back to the 1334 podcast. Today, I'm joined by Charlene from CASA. Could you tell me a little bit about your organization?
Okay, I'm with Dougherty County CASA. We're court-appointed special advocates. We were actually established in 2001 here in Dougherty County because there was a need for unbiased parties to help report on what was going on with children in the foster care system during their court hearings. So basically what we do is we advocate for the best interest of a child that's been brought into foster care. We train community volunteers to help us advocate for those children. So they complete like a 40-hour training with us. And then once they complete the training, they're sworn in by the juvenile court judge, which then they are assigned a case and they'll make monthly visits with the kids, trying to ensure that their safety, normalcy, and that their best interest is being brought forth in the court hearings.
How did you get involved?
So in 2014, I actually volunteered as a CASA. And then in 2015, I became staff and I was a volunteer supervisor. And then in July of 2015, I became the program director. And then in 2022, we broke away from our umbrella organization and we established our own nonprofit. And I'm now the executive director.
Awesome. So why does it matter so much for you personally?
Well, my oldest sister, when she was 17, was actually brought into the foster care system. She had a lot of behavioral issues. And since it was the early 90s, child-informed care wasn't really a big topic and trauma-informed care wasn't really a thing back then. So she had a lot of trauma from her childhood that wasn't identified. She was overly medicated. She was bounced from home to home, from mental institution to mental institution, till she finally aged out of foster care. And she never got the things that she needed addressed for her trauma. And we lost her in 2017. Awesome. So that's what brought me into working in the foster care system.
Yeah. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
What kind of, do you have like a big win story that comes to mind when you think about CASA?
Actually, I do. So a young lady, when I first started advocating for children in foster care, her name's Charlene. She actually had a very similar background to my older sister, and I became her advocate, and I followed her throughout the foster care system. When Charlene turned 18, she decided she was going to stay in the foster care system and join an independent living program. And from there, she became an advocate for foster youth herself. Charlene has helped change the landscape of foster care because she has advocated for children on a national level. Previously, children that were 18 were leaving foster care without driver's license, social security cards, birth certificates. And we all know when you're 18 years old, those things are heavily needed to be able to get a job, go to school, get a place to live. And so a group of older youth that were advocating for foster children brought it to a national attention. And they helped put in law legislation that every child that leaves over the age of 18 now leaves with identification. Charlene has continued to go on and speak on a national level as well as state levels. She, back in 2024, spoke at the Georgia CASA conference. A week ago, she spoke at the Kentucky CASA conference.
Wow.
So she continues to make a difference in children's lives, even though she's in her mid-20s now. She's still trying to help change the landscape that she came from to make sure children don't have to deal with the things that she had to deal with.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's really cool. And to see that, how does it feel for you personally to know that you play a small part of that really powerful story?
Well, after Charlene turned 18, CASAs aren't assigned to their cases anymore. So Charlene came to me after she turned 18 and said, I want you to be an adult supporter for me. which is kind of the same concept as CASA for a kid over the age of 18. So I've been able to track her and be with her during this journey. She calls me mom. And a little part of me is joyful that an individual that suffered the same things that my sister suffered is able to make a difference and fill a part of my heart that I lost back then.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's really cool. Wow, that's really awesome. Almost divine in a way, I guess. Divine appointment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool. What kind of things would you want to say to just the general population that doesn't really know or understand the adoption process and why this is so important?
So in Dougherty County alone, we are the largest county in the region, and we carry the bulk load of children in foster care. Currently in Dougherty County, we have close to 250 children in foster care.
Wow.
On an annual basis, 15,000 children will enter the Georgia foster care system each year, or be in the foster care system. So it's so important that we help break the stigma of foster care, as well as bring awareness that these children need someone in their corner, because we want to break those generational poverty cycles. We want to break all those cycles that can prevent these kids from reaching their goals, reaching their dreams. And by having that supportive, consistent adult in their corner, speaking up for them in a courtroom setting, in an adult-centric world, makes such a huge impact and difference in those children's lives.
I think I was reading something or heard somewhere that even in like the late 1800s, or maybe in early 1900s, they thought that babies had no feeling. They didn't have nerves. And so they would perform like surgeries on babies with no anesthesia, with nothing. And I think it's wild that even just 100-something years ago that was happening. And today we have a similar situation where you have kids in need that have actual legitimate needs that are not being met by the state. And I think it's really cool that your organization is filling that gap.
I think for sometimes, like I said, in an adult-centric world, it's hard for us as adults to really understand what a child's going through, especially if it's something you can't physically see, like trauma.
Yeah.
You just see the behaviors and you're like, oh, that child's got bad behaviors. Oh, that child's not paying attention in school, and that's why they're misbehaving, or this or that. And I think we as the adults, because this is a generation that we need to make sure has everything they need and the tools they need, because they're going to be the next generation after us. So it's so important for us to take part in their lives and to make sure that we're just bringing that awareness and bringing them closer to their goals. One thing that drives me is advocating for a child in foster care on normalcy, because it's already hard enough that a child is taken from their home, put into a stranger's home. They don't have any kind of connection. And remember, as a kid, for you probably, and for me, it was like, I just want to be normal. I just want to fit in. So now you've got this child that doesn't feel like they're fitting in at home, possibly even at school if they had to change school districts or change schools in itself. And so one of the biggest things we advocate for on a regular basis is normalcy. And that comes with like extracurricular activities, making sure the child just has the basic needs.
Yep. I think I heard someone say the worst thing to happen to you is the worst thing to happen to you. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's the loss of a child or you are a kid and you failed a grade. You know what I mean? The worst thing that happened to you is going to be the worst thing that happened to you. And I think adults often forget that. It's like, oh, you don't have it that bad. Well, it's quite literally the worst that they know. You know what I mean?
And one thing also for individuals that may not be wanting to work with kids, we have so many parents out there that need role models or need mentors to help them through this time of trying to reunify with their children. So I think it's a big thing that people should also look at. If maybe you don't want to work with kids, maybe that's not your thing, but there is a possibility that maybe you can help a parent.
Yeah.
If you are a parent and you want to do something, there's so many different options.
Yeah. That's powerful. How could somebody get connected with you or donate or volunteer?
So they can either find us on Facebook, Dougherty County CASA, or they can fill out like an information form on our website. It's www.doughertycountycasa.org. They can send an email, info@doughertycountycasa.org. They can also contact us by phone, 229-573-7027.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.